Welcome, everyone. I'm Kimberly Boschman, and this is the Intentionally Intuitive Podcast. In this episode, we're going to take a look at each life path number's forecast for the full moon that's coming up on November 27th, 2023. Before we get into the forecast, this, of course, is a general reading. If you would like a personalized reading to take a look at your own numerology and your year ahead forecast or anything else you want to take a look at, you can book some time with me. My information is in the description box below. Also, this is a great time to get your year ahead forecast and your diamond forecast to take a look at what energies may be presenting for you in the year of 2024. So let's go ahead and take a look at the forecast for the full moon on November 27th. Life Path 7. So for you all, this full moon is bringing in the energy of the 16-7. So you're going to be working with your own energy, but then you've also got the additional energy of that 16. And I'll talk about that in just a moment. The other energy that you're going to be working with is the energy of mouse. So that is your animal wisdom energy for this full moon. And what I love about this, well, there's a lot I love about mouse, but really with mouse energy, it's really asking you to dial it down to the details. Really pay attention to the finer, smaller details that could really get easily lost in translation or sort of lost in the chaos. Like sometimes it's really easy to lose sight of things when we're too focused on the bigger picture or too focused on the past or the future. And mouse energy, tiny little mouse energy is saying, don't forget about me. Don't forget about these little details that really make whatever the experience is what it is. Those details are going to, again, can sometimes make or break an experience. So it benefits us to pay attention to the steps, to pay attention to the finer details, to read the fine print of our own story, so to speak. The other thing I love about mouse energy is it is sort of meek and mild. It's quiet, it's soft, it's still, right? So, oftentimes we're so sort of focused on standing in your power and being assertive and going after what you want and all those things. And all of those action items are, of course, very, very important. And all of that empowerment, of course, is very, very important. But sometimes it's very beneficial to just sit in the stillness, to sit in your own mildness, to be mild with yourself and gentle with yourself and be gentle with others. Like, where is it that maybe you can be more gentle with others when it comes to their journey, right? And what they're moving through, and how you perceive that and how you respond to that. It really is just such a beautiful energy of collaboration and working together, but in a very gentle, harmonious way that's also, again, paying attention to the finer details. So with mouse energy, also, it's, again, a lot of times we can get caught up on the bigger picture and the bigger dream. And mouse kind of brings it back to the magic. It brings it back to the core. It brings us back to our heart center and says, from that gentleness, from that sort of, from that initial seed of that initial dream, from that truth of that dream, what is it that we want to achieve? What is it that we want to move towards? What is it that we want to say yes to? And mouse kind of reminds us that we can do that, and we can even do it quietly and softly and in a way that feels good for us, in a gentle way, where we're being gentle to ourselves and gentle to each other. So this is incredibly beautiful energy. The other thing is that I love about mouse energy is it really does have this sense of looking out for one another. And again, collaboration, connectivity, working together, seeing eye to eye, harmony, making sure that the other person or the other people feel supported and that you feel supported and that you're asking for what you need as well. So there's a lot of sort of synergy here as well with mouse energy. So I love it. The picture that I'm looking at of this little mouse is just adorable. So it just brings in this very sweet, mild, gentle, cuddly kind of energy. So Okay, so 16-7. So of course, you're going to be working with your own energy of the 7. So there could be things that come in for you, just the whole gamut of 7 energy. I'm not going to go too into detail with that because if you listened to my readings before, you have a good idea of what that could bring. But I do want to spend some time on the 16 because 16 energy is karmic. And so it can bring in karmic ties. So what's interesting here is we have a full moon. And a lot of times with a full moon, it can bring about completions. It can bring ends to a cycle. It can also bring in potentially new cycles, right? We're closing one out and we're bringing in another. And so for some of you, because of this karmic 16, there may be some kind of larger karmic cycle that you're ending, whether it's with a career or with a relationship or some kind of connection or some kind of belief system, something that there was a bigger lesson to learn through that experience. And so for some of you, you're closing that out, you've learned the lesson, and now you're applying it and you're moving forward. For others of you, you've already closed that out and now you're starting a new cycle. And karma is not always bad, right? It doesn't have to be bad. It really just sort of puts pressure on and emphasizes areas where there's wisdom to be extracted, right? And there's deep wisdom to be extracted. There's something that we can learn from our own experiences, right? And so the karma sort of just intensifies that a little bit. So it's not a bad thing. It doesn't have to be a bad thing, or like we're repaying something, or we're in atonement for something. So for some of you, you could be starting a new cycle. What I will say about the 16-7 is what this signifies is usually very physical experiences that can at times be challenging, but that are meant to open us up to something bigger than ourselves, that we are also a part of, but that usually that physical experience creates some kind of greater awakening, some kind of greater spiritual awakening or evolution or awareness of self-discovery and then our place in the world and all of the things. But there's a very strong physical component with the 16 that, again, has some kind of potential challenge or trial and tribulation that you have to kind of move through. And through that process, it opens you up to, again, a greater awareness, a greater spiritual connection, greater connectivity, whatever the case may be. So it can be intense in that sense. But it's leading you towards some kind of evolution. So it's very possible with this full moon, with the 16-7 energy, there's something that you are meant to move through that doesn't have to be bad or challenging, etc. But it definitely will feel very real and tangible. And it has the potential to open you wide up to a greater potential, a greater sort of spiritual experience, or again, a greater connectivity to your own higher consciousness. So it can be incredibly beautiful in that sense. But with mouse energy, I would also say, keep coming back to your mildness. Keep coming back to the softness throughout this process. And, it's a full moon, so you're going to feel the intensity of this for, maybe a week or two. It's not an incredibly long cycle. But, with 16-7 energy, it can definitely spark something, and it can spark something that ignites something even bigger. So I would say don't lose yourself in that process. Keep coming back to yourself and keep asking yourself, what is this experience trying to show me? So I hope it's a beautiful one. I know it'll be pretty powerful. Take care, sevens. Bye for now.